Okay, today we're taking a look at the Epomaker TH85. This is a 80% QMK and via hot swappable gasket mounted tri-mode mechanical keyboard. Now, quick disclaimer, I'm not a keyboard head, I'm not a keyboard junkie, but I have tested a lot of keyboards. My use cases are very simple. I do a lot of typing for work. I write a lot of emails. Sometimes I have to write more complex things that will take 30, 45, maybe even an hour's worth of time to type out. And I'm looking for comfort and a really good feeling keyboard. And there's a difference there, right? So as far as comfort goes, I can't keep my hands in this position for a very long time. Otherwise I get discomfort in my wrist and in my forearm. And then the feeling part is it's this. I love when a keyboard makes that sound, and I love the springiness that comes with this. But this is not a super springy keyboard, and I'll show you the switches and such in a moment. So in the box, of course, you get the keyboard, you get a switch remover or a keycap remover as well, 2 of these spare switches, and a USB-A to USB-C cable. Well, since this is tri-mode, you have the cabled version of connection. You can connect over Bluetooth, but you can also connect over 2.4 gigahertz wireless. And that's very obvious right here. You just set it to the mode that you want. And what really confused me is I'm digging through the box and I'm thinking, where's the dongle? I can't find it. And then I had this crazy idea that what if they, over at Epomaker, what if they were crazy enough to put it here? And they were crazy enough to put it here. And this is awesome. I reviewed other Epomaker keyboards and I liked how they had a spot in the keyboard that you could just slide this into. And I think it had a little bit of a magnetic clasp to it as well to really make sure that the dongle stayed in there. But now that I've seen this, I think this is my preferred method because it allows Epomaker to have a cleaner keyboard aesthetic, something more symmetrical and just overall cleaner. Imagine if this were here, of course, tucked in, but it would stick out. I wouldn't say like a sore thumb, but it would still stick out somewhat. So this is really cool. I love that this is here, and this might be my new favorite way of stowing a dongle. Now, I used it wired pretty much the whole time because the way my desk is organized, I can hide the cable. So, why worry about battery life? And therefore, I don't have a battery life estimate from me that I can give to you. Now, let's talk a little more about what you get with this keyboard. As I mentioned, the 3 different modes of connectivity. There's the wired method, and you can also have this set to either Mac keyboard layout or a Windows keyboard layout. And if you wanted to, you could remove some keys here and find some alternatives that would give you, more of the Mac styling. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be switching from a MacBook to a ThinkPad at some point. But as of right now, I have a gaming desktop and then I have my Mac. So what I did is I connected this to one of my handhelds. It was probably my Legion Go. That's the one I tend to use when I connect keyboards to it because the screen is 8.8 inches. And I just kept it in Windows mode. But as you can see, if you wanted to, you can remove the keys. It's very easy to do. And then just, reinstall them. The switches, there we go. The switches you can also remove. They're hot swappable, and you can also, lube the keycaps if you wanted to. It does come pre-lubed, by the way. All right, so now a tour of the keyboard itself. This comes in 3 different colorways. There's one that's mostly white with some black highlights. There's another one that's both black and white, and then it has blue accents. And that's the one that I would probably buy because I think that looks really cool. Although this is awesome too. You may have seen my last Epomaker keyboard review was one of the TH models. And I mentioned how I like the black and white. So I can't be a liar and tell you I don't really like it. I do. I think black and white is cool. But I could stand for a little bit more white on this. Now also in addition to the coloring and the function keys and everything that you see presented here, there's also a backlighting. So you can control this, as I mentioned, with like the VIA settings, for example. Hang on. Come on. There we go. Let me kill these blinds a bit. So now you can see the coloring, and you can change the coloring with some function keys as well. All the instructions are on the included booklet. So if you want to change the backlighting, oh, this is the German version. Sorry, one second here. If you want to change the backlighting keys, the lighting colors and the pattern and the speed, you can do all of that with this various lighting controls. So function and home will turn the backlights on or off. Function and backspace will change the effect. So let's give that a shot. Function, backspace. Don't worry about this. This is just a Bluetooth indicator. It's looking to pair. There's nothing wrong with the keyboard. Okay, so as you can see, there are a variety of different background lighting effects. And if you want to change the color, looks like it's function and backslash, which may only apply to certain, there we go. And you can change your color. So super cool lighting effects. You can change as well the saturation, the brightness, the speeds, and all that fun stuff. All of the instructions are included here. So if you also want to know how to do some built-in Mac commands like changing your brightness or launching the Launchpad, all of that is shown here in this key, or this legend rather. All right, so my thoughts on this. Well, as I mentioned on the outset, I have tested a lot of keyboards, but I'm not a keyboard nerd to the point where I can tell you the why behind my opinion. For me, I think this is an awesome keyboard for two reasons. One, you get an 80% layout, which is, I think, a really good balance. This desk that I'm on right now, this is my secondary desk in my office, which is what happens when you're a nerd. And this is a good fit for this desk. On either side of the keyboard, you can't see all the space next to me. I have about 8 inches of additional space on the desk on either side of the keyboard. So if the keyboard were a full-size keyboard, or if it were a ergonomic keyboard like this one from Logitech that I use when I'm working, it would occupy about 5 more inches of that remaining 16 inches of space. And then by the time you center it, now you're down to having about, I don't know, 6 inches on either side. So, give or take, it's just a massive keyboard. So something like this, I think, is great in terms of that, space saving, call it requirement that I have. The other reason I like it is for the way that it feels when I'm typing on it. And this is my ideal typing sensation that I get. Now, I know this is mostly positioned for gamers, but if you're a gamer, how are you paying for your games? And how are you paying for your gaming desktop and your handhelds and all that stuff, right? You got to have a job. And so, I don't like changing my keyboards out when I'm going between gaming and working. And part of the reason for that is that sometimes I got to sneak in my gaming during my work time. And that's, I got 15 minutes between meetings, I'm going to game a little bit. So I don't want to have to constantly switch out my keyboards. That's why the secondary desk is helpful. So with that said, having one keyboard that you can use for everything, this could be that keyboard, especially if the nature of your work doesn't require a number pad or, would benefit from a number pad, I should say. You can always buy a standalone, secondary, wireless, or wired number pad. But if you're looking for one keyboard that can do everything for you and you don't feel like a number pad is required, I think this would be a good bet. And the kicker is, it's only $80, and that's across all 3 different colorway options. $80 is a really good price for a well-made keyboard. Something I haven't shown you quite yet, and that's my bad, is just intentionally showing you the overall design of this thing. So I'm going to show it to you with the lights off, and then I'll show it to you with the lights on. So you have this really cool design on the back where if you rub your hand over it, it's like a honeycomb and it feels really good, but it also looks cool. They very easily could have cheaped out on the design, but I love how you have this little bracket here and then this consistency all the way around. And there's your Epomaker logo right there. On the front, nothing special. This is a dense plastic, by the way, an ABS plastic. And then you have your Epomaker logo on the other one. The back, there's really not much to it. You have 6 and 9 degree feet that you could kick up. And then a really nice badge here with the Epomaker logo and the etching letting you know this is a TH85 gasket mounted tri-mode mechanical keyboard. Back to the feeling of this. Listen to this. Okay, so you can hear a few different sounds based on which keys are being pressed. And you can also, I hope, hear the hollowness that comes through with this. Now, if you want something very springy, Epomaker has other options for you. And I've reviewed one of those in the past, but I can't remember the model number. But if you want something that's, I think gonna be, so less springy, but also doesn't take a lot of force to activate the key, this is a good fit from that typing perspective. And this may not be very clear, but there is actually a good amount of space between these keys. So that's a helpful thing as well. So whether it's for getting in there and removing the keycaps and the switches, or just, you know, the feel, the spacing on your fingers, I think that's a positive, especially if you're paying attention to that. Now back to the lighting. The lighting patterns that I showed you can also be changed on this side here and on the other side, right? All the way around. Well, not all the way around, but, you know, around the top, I should say. There is no front lighting like you see on some other keyboards. All right, so that is the Epomaker TH85. It's an 80% keyboard, not an 85% keyboard, that I think is really great. As for gaming, I do most of my gaming with a controller, but I did, of course, test out, you know, WASD and such. And it felt really great to me. It's not very loud. It is clicky. It just has more of a hollow sound to it, if that makes sense. It's compatible with, you know, Mac and Windows like I covered, but you could also use this with your PS5 or Xbox, or if you have like a tablet, you can do that too. The battery is a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. So you could, in theory, get, you know, a day's worth of use out of this, but I haven't tested for that. The latency is just 2 milliseconds when hardwired. And then if you're using the 2.4 gigahertz dongle, it's hidden there by the foot. It's 5 milliseconds. And for Bluetooth connectivity, it's 11 milliseconds. But I don't think anybody's going to be using this on, you know, via Bluetooth, right? Okay, so I'll put a link in the description where you could pick it up. None of my links are monetized, and my channel is not monetized. So doing this for fun because I love it. And thanks to Epomaker for sending it over. Thank you for your time. We'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.